My favorite pizza topping, extra bacon.
Pepperoni, peppers and onions, and extra cheese.
My favorite pizza topping has to be roasted red bell peppers.
My favorite pizza topping is pineapple.
My favorite pizza toppings is olives.
Every Tuesday at our Bluffton location, join us for Pizza Tuesdays, featuring one large pizza with your choice of up to 5 toppings and 2 fresh salads. We'll see you on Tuesday. Hey, Salty Dog Bluffton friends and family, here to talk about Burger Wednesdays. So every Wednesday from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., we feature a special menu featuring delicious craft burgers. Again, that's served 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. And here today, we're talking about one of those burgers. It's called the Chubby Boy. So what we do here is we start with a flame grilled Angus patty. We're gonna throw a little American cheese on it. We're gonna top it with some smoked bacon, finish it with an ooey gooey fried egg, and then just a little slather of steakhouse mayo. And this is one of many treats available on Wednesdays from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m., all for just 11 bucks. We'll see you in Bluffton.
A lot.
Like $1 million or so.
60, 75,000.
Thousands, couple of thousands.
$1 million.
About me.
Probably 1.5 million, 2-3 million. 20 million.
Billions.
I think it's about 50 to 60 billion.
I'd say hush puppies are one of the most important parts of the whole Salty Dog experience. Hush puppies are something that people come here year after year, and it's almost like one of those things, you put that basket of hush puppies down in front of that table and everybody's eyes light up. Everybody likes a little sweet corn ball, like a donut. Everybody loves donuts. Our hush puppies are a nice sweet corn fritter. Well, hush puppies is actually a really simple kind of recipe. There's not that many ingredients, and it's more of a thick pancake batter. So you're basically a blend of flour, buttermilk, sugar, and cornmeal. And it's basically spoonfuls, and we fry them up just like donuts. So they're nice and golden brown and warm in the middle, and we serve ours with an awesome honey butter. One of my favorite things is actually serving people hush puppies, because it is such a big, it's just such a big thing. Everybody in this restaurant that's sitting down at the table, their favorite person to see is the person bringing them the basket of hush puppies.
All right, hey, Salty Dog Bluffton friends and family, Tim here telling you about another one of our awesome super daily deals. So let's talk about Thursdays. So we feature $4 tacos every Thursday. Today we're featuring a couple here for you. We got the Gringo, which is a seasoned ground beef, cheddar cheese, lettuce, tomato, onion. It's finished with a sriracha creme. And then we also have here our buffalo chicken, which is buttermilk fried chicken tenders. We're gonna toss those in our signature Red River buffalo sauce. We're gonna go in with some lettuce, tomato, onion, and finish it off with a little bit of ranch. And that's available every Thursday from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. for $4 each. We're making a meal for starting at $10. We'll see you out on Thursday.
Hi everyone, Here at Salty Dog in Bluffton, we have happy hour from 4 to 6, and we would love for you to join us and try some of these dishes. It's going to be the Baja Tacos, we have the chicken barbecue nachos, and the bruschetta toast. We also have our Salty Dog wine and our Salty Dog beers. And we're here every day from 4 to 6 for happy hour. We love to see you.
My name's Herb Britton, I'm the chef for the Salty Dog, and I'd like to tell you a story. About 3 years ago, before a menu reprint, I kept on waking up with cold sweats. Couldn't sleep through the night, and it was like I was being chased by a big burger.
Ah! The Jake Zilla.
Next thing you know, I went to Tim and Zach. I asked them if I could put this giant burger on the Salty Dog Cafe menu. And that's where the Jake Zilla was born, and I was able to get some sleep. So to build this Jake Zilla, we take the bottom of a pretzel roll, we put our prime burger patty on top of that, then we go with our homemade pimento cheese, bacon, pulled pork, our barbecue sauce, onion rings on top of that, lettuce, tomato, onion, the top of that bun, and then we skewer it with a pickle and a hush puppy. Most of the time when people get that plate dropped in front of them, there is a, oh my God, a couple wows, and the rest of the table laughs at whoever ordered. It's definitely a conversation piece. We've delivered it to an 8-year-old girl to an 80-year-old man. So it works for everybody. It actually went to the point where we had to make a version for our kids menu called the Puppyzilla. So while you're on Hilton Head Island, you need to stop by the Salty Dog Cafe and see if you can finish this beast.
My name's Steve Hughes. I am the production director of the Salty Dog T-shirt factory. The Salty Dog Cafe, the T-shirt that represents the cafe, is kind of an integral part of Hilton Head. You know, people come down here from the Midwest, they take that shirt back home, they're wearing it cut in their yard or whatever, and their neighbor's like, hey, you guys went to Hilton Head, didn't you? It's a symbol of your vacation to a tropical area, to the ocean. Our t-shirts come in on pallets, stacked about 6 feet tall. There may be 1,000 shirts on a pallet. You take these t-shirts and you stack them up on these carts, probably about 300 shirts per cart.
The capability of this press is an M&R Gauntlet 2, and it's a great machine, American made. Its capability is running 102 dozen an hour.
It's a fantastic machine. I mean, it takes the place of so many people printing by hand. When the Salty Dog first started printing t-shirts, it was mentioned that we need to find the highest quality 100% cotton t-shirt that's available. We tried a lot of different brands. We settled on Hanes Beefy Tee. When I started in '93, we only offered maybe 4 to 8 shades. Now we're at 22, I believe. We have people tell us how, you know, I was in Alaska on a cruise looking at the whales and I see Salty Dog t-shirt.
To Frankfurt, Germany, I say about 8 years ago, and we were walking downtown in Frankfurt, Germany, and I seen a couple of Salty Dog shirts there.
Or I'm in Canada at a Maple Leafs game and somebody's wearing a Salty Dog shirt. People always want to tell us about how they see us, you know, out and about. Truth be told, I may have printed more t-shirts than anybody else on this entire planet. It's possible.
What's up, Salty Dog World? After you enjoy a bite to eat over at the Salty Dog restaurant in Bluffton, come on over to the Tanger retail store across the street and take part in the low country tradition of tie-dyeing a Salty Dog t-shirt. It's available 7 days a week starting at noon.
What's up, Salty Dog World? Big Z here to talk tides. So first of all, what is a tide? A tide is the change in the depth of the ocean, and it's forced by the gravitational pull of the sun and the moon. So you get 2 high tides every day and 2 low tides every day. So high tide is when the moon and the sun are traveling over land and it pulls the deeper water onto shore. And then as everything rotates and the moon and the sun are back over in the middle of the ocean, it starts pulling that water back out to sea. So that's the basics of a tide. Here in the low country, we get some pretty extreme tide swings. So twice a month, we get what's called a spring tide. And that's when the earth, the sun, and the moon line up perfectly and the force is at its max. So you get a really big tide and a really low tide. So here in the low country, we're about an hour past low tide, and that depth can change all the way up to 10 feet. So it's a pretty extreme change here. And the reason for that is the South Carolina coast has a very shallow shelf offshore. It's not very deep, and then we have huge rivers, creeks, and big channels. So as the water dumps into those bigger channels, it takes a lot more force to pull back out. So you got deep inshore water and very shallow offshore water, and that creates big tide swings here, where if you go along the rest of the continental East Coast, it's much more subtle. There are places up in Nova Scotia and Alaska that swing 50 feet in one tide cycle. So like I said, we're an hour after low tide, so in a few hours, let's check back in and see the difference in the way this water looks at high tide. Well, I waited a few hours to come down to the marina, and as you can see, there's a lot more water.
in the marina right now. So we're about an hour from high tide. And just to break down what that means, there's a 12-hour and 25-minute interval between high tides and also between low tides. So every 6 hours and 12 minutes, you're gonna have a low and a high. So that's why you're at the beach at Hilton Head. You're gonna have to move that chair quite a bit to keep up with the tides each day. So come on down and check us out and have a great day.
Welcome to Hilton Head Distillery. I am Whitney Merriweather. I am the master distiller and GM of the distillery. And I'll just give you a quick tour and show you what we're doing here. We'll start down here. So this is where our distillation process starts. We've got our mash kettle here. This is where we put all our ingredients. If we're making rum, it's our molasses. If we're making whiskey, it's obviously the grain. That's basically heated up and mixed together, mashed in, and it's transferred over here to our fermenters. You'll see that it's got those dimpled stainless steel jackets. That's basically to keep the mash cold. When we add the yeast and the nutrients to the mash, the yeast start eating the sugar in the mash, and they produce alcohol, carbon dioxide, and heat. They produce so much heat that if we don't cool the mash, it will actually kill off the yeast. So we have to keep it at about, between 85 and 90 degrees, depending on what we're making and what type of flavor profile we're looking for. So that'll sit anywhere between 3 days and 7 days, again, depending on what type of spirit we're making. And once that's ready and basically the sugar content's been reduced, the alcohol content's up, we'll move over here to our stripping still. The stripping still is basically our first stage of distillation, where we will strip away excess water, dissolved solids, anything else. And what that is going to produce, it's basically just a big pot still. That's going to produce what we call low wines. Low wines are anywhere between 30 and 50% alcohol. And that's basically the result of our first distillation. Our stripping still here is 2,500 gallons, and we end up with about 550 gallons of low wines. Right, so that's our first distillation. Everything we do gets at least 2 distillations. So this is our polishing still. After we're done with the stripping still, we'll take the low wines, transfer them over here to the polishing still. And this is also a pot still, but it's kind of a hybrid column still. So I can basically engage or bypass both of these 2 columns here. So I can make anything from a really heavy flavored whiskey or rum all the way to a super neutral vodka, which is really, it's really versatile, and we can make just about anything with it. So this is about 550 gallons. And right now we're just making a batch of rum that's going to go into the barrel for our Solera rum. So the basics of the distillation process, right? Alcohol boils at a lower temperature than water. So as we heat it up, the alcohol vapor burns off, rises up the column, and comes over here to the condenser where we've got cold water running through. It turns that vapor back into a liquid, and it's a much stronger proof. Each of these portholes has a plate with what's called bubble caps on them. And each and every one of those windows represents basically another distillation. So as it works its way up the column and then also up these columns, the alcohol vapor gets stronger and stronger and stronger, and more of the water and other heavier compounds fall back into the bottom of the still. And that's how we can distill we can really get up to about 95% alcohol, which is pretty awesome. While we're doing the polishing run or the final run, it's broken down into 3 sections of distillate. The first is called the heads. Now the heads are composed of the most volatile, the lowest boiling point compounds, and a lot of that is not what you want to drink. When you hear about people drinking moonshine and going blind, it's because they drink too much heads. That's going to be your acetone and a few other kind of nasty ingredients. But as those are removed, the flavor and the aroma of the spirit start to change, and we know that we're starting to get into the hearts, and that's the good stuff. So we switch from the heads tank to the hearts tank, and that's the majority of the run. The hearts is mostly ethanol, with just a little bit of those kind of flavor compounds in there with it, but it's very smooth, it's very nice. That's what goes into the barrel or goes into the bottle. And as that runs, you'll start getting some of those heavier compounds that boil at a higher temperature. And as those start to come through, you'll get some more undesirable bitter notes that you don't want to have in your hearts. So we'll basically switch from the hearts tank to the tails. So you've got your heads, your hearts, and your tails, and the tails is going to be all the rest of the alcohol that's left in the batch. So after this process, you'll see that we've got some blending tanks over here. This is where we do proofing. This is where we mix in any kind of, whether it's pineapple juice for our pineapple rum, or where we macerate some coconut for our toasted coconut rum, or just adding water for the platinum. I'll take you over here to the bottling line. So today we are bottling the Salty Dog Grapefruit Vodka. It is super delicious, kind of ruby red grapefruit. Makes an excellent Salty Dog cocktail, and that's what we've got on the line today.